guest today. We have had a series of people coming into our studio who are candidates for Twin Falls City Council. And I want to welcome Nikki Boyd to the studio. First of all, thanks for coming.
Happy to be here.
I'll have you move up just a little closer to the microphone, and you can move that around too. I always joke with people that the springs on them, those sound like an arthritic knee when you're moving them around. So at least my knees sound that way sometimes. First of all, I've seen your signs all over town.
Good.
I've always heard this. It's said that the more signs that are out, it actually can translate into quite a few votes. So I guess the idea is you get them positioned in the right spots near busy intersections and the like, or you find a home where the person in the neighborhood is very well respected. You get a sign up in that yard. That can give a campaign a big assist, or at least that's the hope, right?
Yes, I tried to position my signs where they would get the most visibility, and really, it's not all about signs, but it does help to remind people, and it does help with name recognition. Uh, and I know they all need to come down immediately after the election
Yes.
because we're all tired of looking at them.
Well, you talk about that too, and it's not cheap buying them because I worked a couple of political campaigns last year, and I know what the expenses were like for many of the candidates because I was on the fundraising end of it. But people will say, well, a lot of money goes into running for an office in Twin Falls. We're not talking though about getting a lot of gain out of it. There's no financial gain to this. What drives you to actually run for council?
Oh, I right now I'm serving as a planning and zoning commissioner, and I have loved that experience. I've been a realtor for 18 years, so I've been in the trenches all over town for a long time, working with citizens, buying and selling homes, relocating mom, helping somebody with a new baby, a daughter with a new baby that needs a place to live, and I'm very passionate about it, and I'm excited to be on the team that's doing the work, I think is what I really like about it. Planning and zoning, we see a lot of neat things, which include individuals who want to invest into our community through their small business. And that's a really big deal.
You work closely with current members of the council in that sense. Does it create any, is it uncomfortable to run against someone who you already know?
Well, if you're uncomfortable running against somebody you already know, you probably shouldn't be in this. This is a kind of an endurance test to a certain extent. It is over very quickly, but it is hard work. You do need to be prepared. You need to talk to a lot of people, get lots of answers, get a lot of input, and see what people are really talking about. And that takes a lot of work. And I think most adults, uh, we can work together. To me, it's all about the issues. It's not what color shirt you have on or how you're registered to vote or anything like that. It's an issues at the city council level. It is totally a grassroots. Let's see what the issues are. Let's have intelligent discussions, come up with good answers, and get it done.
For people who are probably listening today, when I brought that question up, you're challenging an incumbent. Now, maybe
No,
tell,
I am not.
you're not.
I am running for seat two, which
Which,
is being
Mr.
vacated
Munn's?
by Jim Munn.
Right, okay.
And then there's three people running for that seat.
The crowded field.
Oh, wait, you know what? All three seats. Only one is
Sean's seat is unopposed.
unopposed, but all the others have three candidates. So when we do a debate, it's like a 9-person lineup.
The one question I've been getting most for candidates, well, tell you what, speaking of questions, we'll go to the phones instead first. And because I think that's important that people listening today might get an opportunity. It's coming up on 12 after 9. Nikki Boyd is our guest. She's a candidate for Twin Falls City Council, 39 at our studio. And we have a caller with us. You're on the air on News Radio 1310 KLIX. And what's your question?
Good morning. My question is simple. I'm totally against the vote that they had that City Hall would be on Main Street, and I'm totally against the refugee program. With that said, I'd like to know her opinions on both of those.
Fantastic. Thanks for the question. Downtown, the location of City Hall, there were opportunities for citizens to come together and voice their opinion, and they took all the information, all the data. I was not actually on, a committee that worked on that, But I do know that I had at least 3 opportunities to go tour the facilities and see what was going on. And so what the council did is they took all the best information, sat down, hashed through it, and came up with the very best decision that they could make with the facts that they have. And not everybody will always agree, and that is part of our um, how we do things here. Everybody gets a say, and when a vote is taken, then we live with that, and we do the very best we can to make that come to fruition that serves everybody well. I'm hoping that you'll come down to downtown, and as the construction is being done, poke around and look at what's really happening. And I'm hoping that when you see how it's finished and what is available to you and your friends, you'll be very happy. I'm hoping that's the case. The refugee center, I spoke at the CSI Student Union yesterday, and that question came up there also because the decision making right now, it starts with the UN, it's at the federal government, and then it's CSI. And so it doesn't have, the city council doesn't have an actual uh, play in that. However, we live here. And I think what's really wonderful about our democratic society is that when citizens don't like something, they can come together. You all have a voice, and together you have a powerful collective voice. And I think for people who want to change that, you need to work on it. I believe that one thing that would be better there is maybe that it's more transparent, like our city government. Everything is open. The door is open. You come in, you sit down, you have an opportunity to speak, whether you're on the agenda or not. You can watch a live stream, and so maybe more people need to be involved in that decision making. But I do think that there's people that are coming together right now and working very hard on trying to make the changes that they want to make. And I want to remind everybody listening that one voice does matter, and you can make a difference if you don't like something here in Twin Falls.
Should then they be applying pressure to Congressman Simpson and our two U.S. senators in this situation?
Well, certainly, anytime you have a concern, those are people who will listen. You can email them, you can call them. You need to go through all the proper channels, but it will be at the state level. Bill, you're correct. It's going to be something that's going to happen at the state level. And so those would be great people to contact.
But if the council had a memorializing resolution where they just said, we have objections to the way this is being done at the moment, would that have more impact than, let's say, just a regular guy like me calling a senator's office?
Well, my understanding is city council does not have, it has absolutely nothing to do with that situation other than, being part of the solution, but there isn't anything we can actually do. We can use our voices and work together, but there isn't anything that we can actually do.
Personally, are you for or against or?
Well, I'm for what I suggested. I'm for having more people be on the team that understands uh, how the people get here, who's being chosen, and what's available to them when they get here so we have a better understanding. I think a lot of times we hear things and it's a little bit fearful, and we don't understand everything. And so if it was more transparent and we could see or have an opportunity to speak, I know that CSI is a great partner with our community, and they would be, open to listening to these kinds of things. But it needs to be done with them there because they're the decision makers.
Well, I know that a lot of us. I don't think I'm opposed to having refugees resettled in America. On the other hand, it just comes down to a screening process, and there's a line from the British politician Nigel Farage where he just says, "Who are you?" When he's speaking at an EU meeting, and I think about that's the question we don't know. I mean, we don't have an answer to.
Well, and it only takes a couple of bad apples in any group. It could be any group. And I think everybody that got here is originally an immigrant. We all come from that. And there's a big difference between an immigrant and a refugee. And I think we are a kind, giving country, and we want to help people have better lives. but we seem to have a large group of people that are very concerned about the amount of refugees that we're getting, and I think they have a right to have a say. It's their community.
Um, Rebecca Milsoika was here the other day, and I think we got into a point where we were talking in a city election. Does this really have any impact anyway? This is because I think most people vote when they're voting in a city election. They vote for the snow plowing. Does my water come on? Do the police come when I call them? Did the fire department get here in time? And this other issue, while it's certainly big in this community, is likely not to have much of an impact on the council race. What's your take on that?
Well, I sort of agree with that. What you've listed are the services that are provided to each of us, and that's very, very important. But I also think it's very important to have people on the council that are serving that have a vision, that understand where Twin Falls is going, who have worked in there, understand the comprehensive plan, understand how the budget's derived. It's specifically lined up with our strategic plan to deliver services to the citizens. And this is not just about a place that provides services, but this is a nice place to live. There's a good feel here that everybody wants to keep in place. We want to have sustainable growth. We want to have better jobs. We want all of that plays into it. We've done a lot with bike trails and things on the canyon, to enjoy the canyon. That
Hmm.
canyon is absolutely spectacular, and I think a lot of us forget people come from all over just to see that, and it's in our backyard. And sometimes I think people, other than driving over the bridge, haven't really thought about what's down there. I love to kayak down there. It's an amazing experience because looking up, it's totally different than looking down, and you get a whole nother experience of our canyon.
Well, I want to thank you for coming by today. Nikki Boyd is a candidate for Twin Falls City Council. Is there a website quickly or a Facebook page?
Nikki Boyd for Twin Falls City Council seat 2 on Facebook.
Now, we should point out the music is random. It has nothing to do with the candidate's appearance.
I love Star Wars.
Thanks again for dropping by.
Thank you very much.